Good afternoon, welcome back. It is Tuesday, January 31st, last day of the month. We do have a few birthdays today. A couple of them that we'll get out of the way real quick that I don't have cards for, at least I haven't found any. Born on this date in 1976, former Indy 500 driver Buddy Rice. I believe he won the race in, 2004 or 5, thereabouts. Rain shortened the race. Looking through my list over here, also born on this date and I might have one card of this guy, but I hadn't found it yet. On 1959, on this date, Kelly Moore, former Busch North Series legend. Of course, that is now the Arca Menards East Series. If you follow the little bouncing ball of evolving NASCAR series. Also born on this date, 1966, former Formula One driver turned part-time IndyCar driver J.J. Leto. I think I got one or two more here on my list. Scrolling down. I did see listed was Shayna Mayfield. Of course, that's the wife of Jeremy Mayfield. But we have two birthdays today that I do have cards of. First one, just have a few of. Born on this date in 1981, former part-time Xfinity Series driver, Scott Lagasse Jr. Obviously the son of former road racing driver and inaugural Truck Series campaigner Scott Lagasse. This is Scott Lagasse Jr., so he's driving for Baker Curb. There's another shot of Scott Lagasse Jr., and our final one is a car card. Don't see many of these. We'll flip it around there, get a better view of the car. See there, it's Nationwide Series, but that is, of course, now Xfinity Series. But up next, our primary driver of the day that has a birthday today, born on this date in I lost it here, 1953. So celebrating his 70th birthday today, Rick Wilson. Of course, Rick is in politics down in his hometown of Bartow, Florida. He was on the Scene Vault podcast, really talks about his stuff that he works on politically and that sort of thing. Very, very good interview there. Here he is pictured with the Dinner Bell uniform that he drove in 1990 for Raymock. Of course, that was kind of a crummy season for him. Then he did replace Richard Petty, driving car 44, as the STP Petty Enterprises did set that car out for a year. And I don't know why that one's in a sleeve, but nonetheless, he drove the Snickers Stavola car in 1991. Did not register a top 10 finish. And actually broke his shoulder blade in a crash in the fall race at Dover that season. Here he is again. And then he was released after one race in that car when they turned to Ford in 1992. There's the car. Of course, Kyle Busch did a throwback to that a couple years ago at Darlington. Here he is in his STP get-up. Did I miss? I skipped a 93 Max, so it's the same card. Thought maybe it had the car on it. There's a picture of the car, a little picture anyway. Always looks so weird seeing the 44 on there for that one lone season. Got a 91 tracks here when he was still with Stavola. Of course, he's got that Buick. He was one of the Buick drivers at the time. Got a first run with Rick here in his STP. Doesn't have a lot of cards. Rick did make a small comeback. There's a really good picture of the 44 car. Had a rough season. He only had one top 10 that season, and it came of all places, Sears Point. I believe he finished 7th in that race. And I think that was a kind of a year where Petty Enterprises realized, we're behind the 8 ball. Of course, here you have the base Max. This is the update where they have him in his new uniform for the year, which was what a lot of the Max updates were, updating drivers with their new uniforms or sponsors or new teams, and same with some of the crewmen or just correcting errors. Here's a Redline Racing stand-up. Of course, these can be unfolded. Those are pretty cool. You get these. I was looking at these boxes on eBay. They're actually super cheap. I'm thinking about getting one. They're not worth a lot of money, but it'd be kind of fun to put together a set of those. We've seen this 93 action pack just a moment ago. I don't think Rick has many cards beyond like 93, maybe 94. Like I said, he got released from at the end of the season in 93 at Petty. There's a good shot of the Stavola Brothers Racing Buick number 8. Most likely Daytona there. This is a really good shot, too. I think we've seen that one earlier, but always like that car. 1997, Rick came back racing for David Blair Motorsports at Indianapolis and a few other tracks. That car was just really uncompetitive. To be truthful, there's 92 Max. Of course, like we said, he ran one race with the car as a Ford, so there's still a Buick here in this picture. I always kind of like this picture. I think it's a cheesy pose. I wish they didn't have him, acting like he's timing somebody, because I don't know of too many garages where you can stand behind the car and time a lap of somebody, because you're not really going to see it, but I get the idea of the pose. 92 Pro Set, but not too bad of cards here. Rick was one of these drivers that I think he was... You've seen how well he ran in the 4-car. If you watch NASCAR races from 86 to 88, 89, and he ran the 4-car in every race but one, which he didn't qualify for Richmond in the spring of 88, and 86 and 87 he only ran partial schedules. But the big tracks he was always super competitive at. Of course, when Irvin got in the car in 1990, he showed what the Morgan McClure car could really do. I think Rick was a capable driver. He was very serviceable. Just didn't have the right timing for some of these things. And I think he even said that in his interviews, that his timing was just bad. He went to Raymock the year they switched from Pontiacs to Oldsmobiles, so they were behind the 8-ball there. When he went to Stavola, they had went from a 2-car team to a 1-car team, and were readjusting and were planning on switching to Fords the following year. So Rick was kind of caught in all these things. Of course, the year replacing Richard Petty, that was a big change for Petty Enterprises. So I think if Rick could have got, because he proved in 88 and 89, finished top 20 in points both years. I know he was 17th in 89. He may have been just outside the top 20 in 88. But he proved both years that he was very, very competitive. And maybe he shouldn't have left the 4-car. Maybe he should have hung on for another year or two, and maybe we'd be talking about Rick Wilson being a Daytona 500 winner and not Ernie Irvan. But one of those big NASCAR what-ifs. So anyway, thanks again for watching. So happy birthday to everybody that we mentioned earlier. Buddy Rice, Shana Mayfield, Scott Lagasse Jr., Rick Wilson, J.J. Leto. If I'm probably missed somebody. Kelly Moore. Just rattled those off my head because I just looked at them and committed them to memory. But nonetheless, happy birthday to all those folks. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe button on your way out, and make sure you come back and see us tomorrow. We will have more stuff to rip. Thanks again for watching. Really, really do appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.